Hey guys, what's up? I'm Chase, and this is the Barely Human podcast. Each week, we discuss the topics on AI that you want to hear about. This week's podcast is also sponsored by Glitch Cat Club School Community, the #1 school community to go from Peter Parker to Tony Stark overnight. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and let's get into it.
In your case was just all the other tools, read, write, glob, grep, right? And so I'm going to try and set it up the same way, the difference being that we need to stop it from nagging. So I'm going to do it like a hook, hopefully if it works, but a hook that basically asks you, tells you that it's happening, and then you get to say, like, don't ask me again, but you can also revoke that. I think that's the way to do it. So you give them the freedom, but you just show that we care enough to warn you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. And then the third one is much more scary. It's going to require our first proper DB rebuilds. So that's why I'm a little bit like, and I kept doing adversarials on it, dude. And every time I did them, it found another problem. And I was like, so in the end, I had to just go through the actual code myself. That's why I was really silent on the call. I muted the Wizards call. I was so that one's a bit scary.
I wouldn't have been surprised if you just muted it because.
Well, there was that too. Hey, Dan, how you doing, brother? You're on mute because his phone makes everyone, call makes everyone start on mute.
Yeah, I don't want anyone coming in here and playing. What? You're muted.
My microphone was disconnected. Yeah. My microphone was disconnected.
Back to the original question. How you doing, brother?
I am. I'm good. I had a slow start this morning.
You call that a slow start?
Well,
you came in like you had chili peppers up your ass. I mean, I was there for it. I was living for it. I was very happy. I was like, yes. I wanted to jump in, and I thought, no, he's got this. He's fucking got this. Then you started dropping like random shit about like famous YouTube people and like Miami, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna let him ride because he's just off on one. And so,
well, I think sometimes I feel like in especially like in entrepreneurship and business. It's like very common to like get I guess you could say to have like these conversations surrounding like mindset and stuff like this, and like I think you can get like way too off topic. Like for instance, like I can just say like when I went to the Vault conference actually last year. Actually, the reason I'm not going this year is because of the fact that I felt like we went a little bit too like we've gone a little bit too woo-woo, I guess you could say, in terms of like the conversation. And listen, I'm all about mindset and having conversations around spirituality and all these different things and high level conversation and all this. But I don't smoke weed anymore, so that changes the level of conversations that I'm willing to allow myself to kind of partake in, because I think sometimes, especially like, again, like in the entrepreneur space, there's a lot of people that just like to like LARP as an entrepreneur, and I like I'm not a LARPer. You know what I mean?
yeah,
we are recording. Right?
Yeah.
We're already doing that, Cam. But
okay, wait.
I just need to turn up and be here.
Yeah. No, I just think that like when you get into these spaces, sometimes I think it's a very common thing for people to come in and they want to have like these really in-depth conversations about things that are just unnecessary. Like I think like Alex Hormozy said in a video one time, I was laughing because he's like, I hired this kid, or he was going to, I can't remember the story exactly, but like he said something about like this kid that he was going to hire or did hire came to him and said something like, I man, I just want you to know, like I'm dealing with some demons. right now. Alex like looked at him and Alex was like, I'm fighting demons right now. And Alex was like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean you're fighting demons? And he was like, oh, like I just got things that I struggle with, and I'm trying to get to these things. I'm trying to like improve my life and my daily structure and all these things. And Alex goes, yeah, you just don't have any discipline. Like, you're just not disciplined. Like, you're not fighting demons. Like, there's not spiritual creatures that you're fighting and slaying in your sleep. And I just remember, and it'd be funny if she watched this episode, because that'd be absolutely wild. But I remember there's at the Vault conference last year, there was a woman sitting next to me, and I don't remember her name. But I asked her, everybody's going, like, what do you do? And this is like, this is the top ticket, right? This is the top section. This is supposed to be like, you don't get this ticket if you're not serious. You know what I mean? Because it's an investment at this point. It's not the $500 sit in the back general admission. This is you're sitting right next to the stage. It's you get priority VIP access straight up to the front. So everybody around me, I'm assuming is serious, right? But I'm talking to this girl. What do you do? She's like, I help women slay their dragons. And I said, and I was wondering about if there was gonna be like more to that. Like, I was wondering like where she was gonna go. And that was it. I said, well, what is that? What do you mean by that? Like, what is that? What does that mean? Well, when women, especially in the entrepreneur field, women, they are, they have a lot going on. A lot of times, with maybe a man in their life who, mistreated them, or they have a situation that they're dealing with, which is, struggling to come forward with confidence and security and all these things. And she goes, and so I help them overcome those fears and, distractions, and we slay dragons together. And I'm like, this is fascinating. And I was like, to be honest with you, I didn't really get too deep into that. I don't know if she puts on armor before, she goes into battle with these dragons. I'm not sure exactly what they do in these sessions or whatever. I don't even know if she's had a session with anybody at this point.
You should have asked her, is this like firefighter training? You learned fire 101.
I don't want to like laugh at someone's, you know what I mean, like their thing too. Like, it's like things I'm not an asshole, right? Like, I think it's like a lot of people like I get that wrong about me. Like, I'm not trying to shit on somebody's profession or like what you think is serious. I think too many people in the entrepreneur space get too convoluted inside of like the woo-woo type of like mentality, and this is not a sexist thing, but women fall prey to it a lot. And there's a lot of women out there that utilize this lever with girls over the internet, because they know that those things like astrology and these things speak to the female entrepreneur. Every female entrepreneur I've ever met just doesn't give a fuck. I mean, they're the same, like, it's successful. You know what I'm saying? Like the ones that are successful just wake up and do the same shit that everybody else does. Like, they're not, they didn't have to do anything special to manage themselves. They get up every day and they just go to work. And I think like there's a lot of men that get involved in the same stuff. So it's not just a female thing. There's a lot of men that go, I have to go to a group meeting and talk about, and I have to overcome my fears and my objections and my internal thoughts and misguided. I said, well, maybe you're just not an entrepreneur. Like, maybe you're not meant to be an entrepreneur. Like, if you are struggling with the thought process of like, you can't get up and go do your work because you think you have to have all of these revelations.
You know, I just can't, dude. All I can think about is there's that album was it Watch the Throne with Kanye and Jay-Z.
Oh yeah, it's a great.
And there's a Will Ferrell sample. What is it? It doesn't have to make sense. It's provocative or something like that.
yeah. The number one song on the album.
I exactly. So like I help women slay dragons. Like it doesn't have to make sense, man. It's provocative. Dude,
but that's the truth. See, she hopefully she's making money. I don't know if she's making money, but those lines are that's what sells.
Yeah,
well, and people can attach a story to it because they're like, oh, slaying a dragon, like I can picture it. I'm putting on my armor and I have my sword and I cut it down and I feel so amazing. Like in one line, you've told an entire story that they can relate.
Yeah, I can imagine there's plenty of courses, conferences, gurus, pseudo gurus that will promote the idea of answering someone's question the way she did, right? Because there is,
1,000%.
Right.
1,000%.
So I find it really interesting because I also find it very difficult, but I'm a little bit neurodivergent, right? So I have I have to constantly talk to myself and say, shush, don't say what you're thinking, because my frustration comes from a different place. It's like I find, especially in this new wave of AI, right? I find it really interesting is this kind of pseudo intellectualism. It's like everyone's trying to feel smarter, sound smarter, when smart for me has always been, Feynman, because he explains these crazy complex topics, but they sound like anyone can understand. It's like it's the opposite of that stuff, right? And I find that we lost you, Dan. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Yeah, my video was flipped and it was giving me hallucinations. Sorry, I had to go slay some dragons. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So look, the point is that there's this kind of pseudo intellectualism, right? And it's like, and you see it manifesting in this kind of natural journey, right? So like, there'll be a problem, a really simple problem, right? And I spoke about this with Chase a couple of times, like this idea of like, when I use AI to build stuff, sometimes when I'm doing stuff and I update a feature, it breaks something else, right?
Yeah.
And then you look across the internet and you've got this like, I engineered a system that can now read all my code and links it all with nodes, and it now knows through a knowledge graph that like and it really over engineered. And the answer is, did you set up a regression test suite? The thing that developers have been using forever that it can do in real, so it's this kind of weird thing where people are uncovering solutions to problems that help, right? But they're over-engineered, and then they're preaching them to the mass market as this is the solution, right? And if they can sell it, even more of an angle, right? And it's like, it's like what happened to like this kind of natural inquisitive nature where we just say, hey, someone's probably already solved this problem. Let's find out what the real answer is. It's this idea of thinking. We're losing thinking slowly, right? We're starting to lose that. Everything is being outsourced to kind of AI. How do I solve this problem, right? With AI, and it's like AI isn't good at answering questions like that, right? It often will be enforced, right, to give you especially if you misalign and you propose like an idea that you're thinking about, it will fully support you in that idea, right?
Yeah.
And so I think people don't quite realize that. So I find this so I'm becoming increasingly frustrated with it. So I have to kind of rein myself in, right? And remember
with AI itself, or just like the content surrounding AI?
I think it's more the content. Yeah, because I don't see anything wrong with someone who's on that journey, learning, trying to go through self-discovery, trying things, breaking things, that's super healthy, right? I have an issue with people preaching it like it's the solved solution. And as an outlooker in with a little bit more experience, you know, I'm kind of like, well, but what you're saying is awful. It's not correct. There's a better, simpler solution to solve this. And at least if you're going to preach it for what it is. This is the way I solved it.
I think that's everything. That's everything, though. Like, that's everything. Everything gets to this point. Everything gets to this point.
That's why I'm angry at everything. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. I've always thought I was just a grumpy person. Now
no. Opportunists ruin everything because they take everything to like this point. Like, just for an example, like in the health industry, right? Like, I've been involved with, you know, medicine and health for the last 11 years. Okay. And you know, we've talked about this at length, you know, between us, obviously, like not maybe the people that are listening to the show, but like, you know, I was involved with the company who was, you know, centered around testing, you know, peptides and SARMs and, you know, and all sorts of things, like different types of medications for different types of usages.
Right.
Like, we were doing, you know, looking at like maybe metformin might be a, you know, an answer for human longevity and all these things. And
right.
we were trying to look at things from a very like a different angle, through a different angled lens, to try to see if we could solve situations where normal physicians weren't looking into certain issues because they were afraid, because they were bound by the FDA and the NIH and you know, or the NHI and all these different organizations and federal regulations. And so we were like, okay, let's detach, right? And let's go and see how much information that we can really discover. But at that time, you know, we were kind of looked at as like, oh, these people are weird, right? Like the general medical populace looked at us like we're nuts.
Because of what you were doing, or in general?
No, just, well, I mean, I am nuts, but yeah, like I am, yeah, I'm crazy. But
no, I hear you.
That's what we were doing. It was mostly because what we were doing, right? Like we were trying to change the dynamic. When the status quo is this, and you're over here,
right?
Everyone wants to look at you like you're a wacko, right? Like the people who are involved inside of the status quo, because it's not in the script, right? It's not in the script, like in the Matrix, the movie, you know what I mean? It's like when someone says something that doesn't fit inside of the simulation, like everybody breaks, right? Like everybody freezes on the train. They're like, oh, you know, I don't know what to say, because it doesn't fit the script. So we didn't fit the script at all. And so the people that came to join us were like, the only people that really wanted to sit there and listen to us were like other weirdos, right? But now it's like everyone has gotten so open to just like, oh, everybody I know and their mother is on a peptide. Everybody I know and their mother is on some type of, you know, supplement or something, you know what I mean? And in reality, what's crazy is now I feel like I'm still, like, I feel like I'm always the guy here. Like that's what I've always felt. Like no matter where the status quo goes, I'm always the weirdo on the outside of the flow. So even with AI, I think it's the same thing is what you're saying. It's the same realization. It's like when the status quo starts to shift, right? Because now everyone and their mother has a Claude subscription, has a Chat GPT subscription, but you're still outside of the status quo because you're always moving where the status quo is always going to change, right? So like for me, for instance, like just to relate to that, like now everybody's trying to take a GLP-1 to lose weight, when in reality I'm like, wait a second. That's not, we didn't want everybody to jump on a GLP-1. That wasn't what we're not, no, because it's like, we're over here and we're like, guys, just give this a chance. Just look at this. Just, can you put this in front of you for 5 seconds? They're like, no, get that out of our face. And then all of a sudden it's like, you keep saying it. And then everybody's like, yeah. And let's let's just grab 100 needles and let's take 100. And you're like, whoa, wait a second, wait a second. No, that's not what I meant, right? It's like, but when AI started to change things, all of a sudden you have these massive corporations that are like, you know what? You're right. Let's just fire everybody. And you're like, whoa. That's not what I meant. It's not what I meant. Hold on. You know, it's like you're always gonna be that person that's like, because people can't live in like a common sense is a trait that is often not found amongst, you know, most groups of men. Like I just feel like I can't go into just any kind of room and get like a very unified sense that everyone in here is just logical. Okay, we're just staying logical, right? Like we have to be insane, otherwise life is boring, right? When you tell someone, if you want to lose 30 pounds, let's fix your diet, let's fix your sleep, let's go to the gym, let's do these things. Oh no, that's oh no. But if I tell you I have a magic solution in a bottle, and you can still, you know, you can still eat all of the shit that you're currently eating, but you'll just want to automatically eat less. They go, yeah. Give me this. You know, let me try this. You know, so it's the same with AI. It's like if I sit there and tell you, like, wait a second. Yeah, there's helpful situations over here, but we still need you working alongside of it. Well, no, I still want you to learn I need you to learn Python a little bit. If you just take one class, if you just take 2 classes, they look at you like you're crazy. I don't, what, no, I go into Claude and I tell Claude what I want it to do, and it does it. And I'm like, how do you know? Like, if you don't know, then how do you know?
You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. And then so, okay. How's everyone finding Opus 5? There's a reason I'm asking. It relates to this. How are you finding it?
It blew my mind the other day. It blew my mind. And that's very odd for me to say, because I don't know. I also don't know how good something really is compared to other things. I really don't know, because sometimes I just wonder if my harness and my MD files and my thing are just getting better at understanding me because of the information that I'm consistently putting in. Mm-hmm. So am I just getting better at the engineering aspect of this, or is this model actually that much just significantly better? I think the answer is somewhere in between. I think that the models are becoming more coherent into understanding the engineering aspects of their input modality that they're getting on the start of when they start the project, versus also they're getting better at reasoning what you're trying to say, right, inside of your MD file, inside of all of the code that you've already written, that is written into its harness, that's written into its, into its guidelines. When it's going through these things, I think that the model itself is more intelligent, but by how much, I don't really know, but it feels like something's different.
Chase?
Yeah, I would say I feel like it's a little bit better. It's incrementally better, but I haven't felt this massive jump. And I think kind of, Daniel, to your point of like the harness, like how good is the harness? And I saw Daniel Miesler, actually, other Daniel, had posted about this, where he's like, I don't know if my harness is just so good that whenever a new model comes out, I don't see these massive improvements because everyone else does.
Oh, I know the answer to that. Daniel should reach out to me.
Oh,
I know his harness quite well. Daniel, if you're out there, if you want some feedback, you can reach out to me. I've code traced PAI, right? Pi. I've code traced your version 5. If you want some, feedback. Yeah, I suspect that no, that's not the issue,
Why
Daniel.
were you lining us up though, Kim? What's
So
your grand...
yeah. So I think all of this is true. I think Opus is great, and I think what you said is right. I think there's better inference, so it like understands you a bit better. And to the Miesler point, I mean, yeah, I think it does have better adherence to your harness. Like it's less like Fable, which is a little bit more wild and off the leash. Like I know too much. I don't need to check that. You know, like I'm just gonna crack on, right? You know, you send a prompt to Fable mid work, it doesn't even reply to you. It's just like, oh, I'll just wait till the end. You know, like it's like whatever. So
the human's trying to talk to me. Shush.
Yeah. No,
Let Daddy Fable work.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really good. The reason I bring it up is because of this. We were talking about this not understanding, this Dunning-Kruger, like if you know, not spending time on learning some Python or whatever, right? If you don't know, then how can you assess, right? And the reason I brought up Opus is because I ran a couple of evaluations with Opus, a couple of my own benchmarks. Obviously, there's the standard benchmarks that everyone knows, and obviously the numbers are very good. And then I run my own. One of those benchmarks is a test about how well the model responds to iterations in code. And I thought this was an interesting one because it's a benchmark that I run that kind of explains AI slop, this idea of AI slop, right? And I think a lot of people don't realize that, right? And I was explaining, I was impressed with the output from Opus. I think it did a pretty good job. But the way this works is, imagine you're building a front end, because you do a lot of visual stuff, right, Daniel? And so imagine you're building like a website or a front end, and you're someone that's never coded before, you have no idea, right? And you say, hey, I want you to draw a little box on the screen, right? And so the AI does that. And you tell it beforehand, look, I want this code to be great. I want this code to be beautiful, make no mistakes, all that kind of stuff, right? And it creates this little box on the screen. If you were to then generally check that code, it's probably really good, right? Because AI is pretty good at coding, right? It's pretty good as a coding agent. The problem begins when you then say, I don't like where it is. Can you move it? And so it will then move it, right? And this is where the drama happens, because if you know code, you'll look at it to see what it did. And most likely, certainly older models had this even worse, but it's still very much a problem. What it does is it keeps the original code and adds more lines. So instead of just correcting the values of the position, which is no extra lines, and saying, actually change that number to this and that, and moves the box, it will say, make the code here in the box, then transpose it. And this will keep going. So every time you say, oh, no, it's still not quite right, change the color, change the font, it just keeps appending more and more lines of code. And the canary is, you start to feel the latency. You start to ask for another small change. Oh, this looks great, but just that little thing on the left is not quite flush. Can you fix that for me? And it does it, and it goes fixed. But then you realize everything here has gone wrong, and you kind of go, wait, hold on, whoa. I just asked for a tiny thing over here. And that's because the code has become so complicated, and it's trying to work out like the layers and which one comes first, whatever. So I have this benchmark. It's about it's like an iteration benchmark that does basically this, and Opus did really well at it, right? And I was thinking, gosh, again, this is one of those things where if people just understood these foundations and basics, they could set some rules up front and quality gates up front when they do their work. They don't have to be deep coders, but just being, curious and willing to listen to people that do know this stuff, you could change your lives with this stuff, right?
It's never going to happen.
Do you think so?
It's never going to happen. No, because it's just, that's not in the human, it's not in the human code to want to do that naturally for some reason. And I don't know why that is. But go ahead, Chase.
I was just going to say, dude, it's, people just want to go down to the lowest energy state.
That's a good way.
They want to find the path of least resistance to whatever.
Well, yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of, it's fine. They're going to guys are going to kick me off the show because it's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he did the Apprentice for that 1 year. You guys remember that? You ever seen that? You ever watch that?
I didn't see that, but I'd love to.
You did it's honestly, it's worth a watch if you have it, just for the entertainment value. It's horrible. I mean, the season's horrible, but it's the entertainment value of watching Arnold try to relate everything in the Apprentice's show back to bodybuilding makes it so worth watching, because you get to watch him sit there in this boardroom and try to relate, the struggle that someone's having in their business to like the bicep curls that he used to do. and I'm sitting there, and it's because of the fact that I understand his references that I'm laughing so hard. But it's horrible. It's horrible. You can't do that. But then everybody's just in the boardrooms and then like looking at each other. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that there is a lot of, when you look at applying just like the terms of exercise, right, in terms of like changing the human body, it applies a lot in the same sense of like changing code and things like that, and working directly. And I think that's why it's funny. There's a lot of nerds. You'll find a lot of nerds in bodybuilding when a lot of people don't expect that. A lot of people expect bodybuilders to be like real dumb, just like blockheads, just go in the gym and just like lift weights. But it's even like in like things like jujitsu, right? You'll find these guys who are very just like
academic,
very analytical. Like, and we're talking about like the top people, right? Like when you speak to someone like Jay Cutler, or you speak to someone like Dorian Yates, or you speak to some of these guys who were like at the pinnacle of the sport of bodybuilding, their inferences on life really apply in a circular fashion to everything. So what's funny is like when you're looking at, and especially if you really want to go super deep, you can look at stuff like that Ben Pekulski has put out, and then you can really go down a line of like how everything like aligns to life and all these different things. But yeah, I just think people at the end of the day, they don't want to hear the parts of the conversation that center around like anything that can be considered boring. Like if it gets too simple, if it's too logical, it's almost like people's brains want to shut it off. Like the most logical thing, right? If you want to build a website and you want to use a coding agent, the most logical thing is to take a 1 hour course understanding HTML, CSS, Java, understanding some very, 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 very simple things about how a website gets put together, so that when those things go wrong, you can go, okay, hey, I can go in here and I can take 5 minutes to fix this issue, because I have, there's one of three things that just went wrong. And I know that because it's this, or that. But if you have no clue, because you've never touched a website in your entire life, you know nothing that's behind the curtain. And to a lot of people, I think they look at that and they think that that's cool, but in reality, it's just stupid, because you're not really paying attention. It's like the guy who goes into the gym and he's just taking steroids and he has no clue what anything does, what anything's supposed to be doing. He's just injecting stuff left and right, taking this, taking that, swallowing this, swallowing that. Like, he's scooping protein, he's scooping pre-workout, he's doing all these things. And he doesn't have any rhyme or reason as to why he's training or what he's doing or whatever. Compared to the person that goes and looks at everything from, I don't have to go and I don't have to read the secrets of life to understand how to make this thing work. I just need to spend maybe 30 minutes of a day for a month, taking 30 minutes of your day for a month to learn something will like triple your value inside of that field and what you can produce and your output significantly, just because of how so few people are so willing to actually spend that time and you think about that, to spend 30 minutes a day for a month learning a craft that they want to apply to change something. It's just not exciting. It's not exciting. They don't want, fundamentals are not exciting to people. No one, Tim Duncan was not an exciting basketball player to a lot of people because of just how fundamentally he played, but his numbers tell a completely different story, right? But they want someone, to them, they want someone who's jumping up in the air and has these crazy verticals and spinning around and, dunking the ball and shooting threes from, from the logo and all these, they want all these crazy things because that to them is exciting. But
thanks for your input. I appreciate that. I should take some classes. Got it. Let the world fucking burn. Make no mistake. Yeah.
That's
work harder.
Stuff that drives everybody like that crazy though, because they're just like, take 20 minutes of your day, 30 minutes of your day to use it to anything.
Listen, you just have to ask questions. Like you can ask questions to AI. Yeah, like something, it comes up on screen with something and it's like, I'm changing the XYZ and I'm gonna put a little ribbon on it and I'm gonna bend this and that should achieve your goal, and people just go, cool, sounds possible, click. It's like why not say, actually, I'm not technical, that doesn't mean anything to me, can you help me to understand this, right? And it will say, hey, yeah, sure, here you go. And often when it explains it, you go, hold on a second, but won't that cause this problem? And then the AI will go, oh yeah, you're right. And you kind of go, oh, well, I'm glad I asked. It's like it doesn't take a lot. It's like AI is a great tool to learn this stuff. But it is this, we're losing HI in the process of adopting autonomous AI. Like we have to continue to be the orchestrator. You have to continue to be inquisitive and curious. And I find that people,
they want to be the people at the end of the movie in WALL-E, where they're just wandering around on these floating chairs.
Yeah. To be fair,
yeah, that's all they want.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. If it was possible, I'm not saying that I would be deeply opposed to that.
Hey, if the billionaires take over, there are worse outcomes than us just all sitting around, with 12 screens in front of us. Like,
the job apocalypse and the what is it? The governments have to like subsidize everyone because there's no jobs, so they just give everyone income, and we're all just sitting using voice. Just
sometimes I feel like I'm always like, and I'm not. What's crazy is I'm not a reasonable person. But compared to the rest of society, a lot of times I feel like I'm so reasonable, which is crazy to me because I'm like, I know for a fact I'm not a reasonable individual. But
you're reasonably unreasonable. That's what it is, right? You're reasonably unreasonable.
I feel like when I sit there and I'm like, on one side, I open up social media and it's like one reel, and it's the real, talking about like AI slop, and it's Ronnie Chang and he's ripping on AI and AI is stupid. And if you ever asked AI a question, it gets everything wrong. And you're like, whoa, wait a second, hold on. And then you scroll up to the next reel, and then it's like, I just cracked the code on me and my friend just invented a new memory system for Claude, and this is why Claude is going to replace your video editor and your and your designer and all these. And I'm like, wait, hold on once. And then you scroll up to the next reel, and then it's just a repeat, and you're sitting there and you're like, and I feel like I'm going to scream in my head because I'm like, does anybody have anything reasonable to say? And they don't. No one has anything reasonable to say, and I feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah, you have to deeply curate.
Yeah, and I end up throwing my phone, and that's how I know that I'm not reasonable. That's why my phone looks like this.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
That's why it looks like that.
Yeah, my name is Aiamus Horribilis.
I don't actually throw my phone as what makes it.
Anyway, someone said to me the other day that they felt like they're not a developer anymore. They're just a condom for Claude. And I thought that was brilliant. It's like, it's true though. You're just trying to make sure everything stays safe. You're not developing anymore. You're just looking out for the next big fuck up. And you're just like, let's make sure that nothing goes wrong here. So like, I just thought, yeah. So yeah, between social media, which I guess has always been kind of this, right? In whatever domain and niche.
Neutral.
Yeah. And the algorithm doesn't help that, right?
Yeah, and you scroll up and you're like, and this is why women suck. And you're like, what? Hold on, wait. Yeah. And then you scroll up again, and it's like, and this is why men are pieces of shit. And you're like,
exactly.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Does anybody have anything reasonable to say anymore?
Yeah.
We don't. We don't have any.
Come back to the middle, friends. It's really, really empty, and there's lots of anything space
to say anymore.
I mean, the middle. Unfortunately, the middle doesn't sell, right? And news outlets have figured this out. They're like, how do we sensationalize whatever story it is? Yeah.
If you're not pitching a story, because now the new thing obviously is taking AI, and now the biggest thing that irritates me, obviously, because I do a lot of like social media stuff, ad stuff, all these things, and it's like when I see someone, the most irritating thing now, when I see somebody take a AI photo and they just throw it up with no, like, they don't put any time. And I'm like, and the amount of people that don't know that this is clearly a ChatGPT image, when I'm like, skin doesn't even look like that. How do you not know that this is fucking AI? When has anyone seen?
She has 9 fingers. Like, she has 9 on her right hand.
Yeah.
Am I going mad?
And you see the guy? Did you see the guy who did the Kylian Mbappe picture? He replaced somebody. I can't remember who it was. He replaced a woman or a man who was taking a picture with Kylian Mbappe, the soccer player, the football player, whatever. I don't want to offend.
I know nothing about that. No,
anyways, he's taking a picture. You know what I mean? The French the French football player is taking a picture with a woman or a man. I don't really know which one. He posts it. Somebody posts it. Maybe not him. Someone took this picture. Some guy took this picture. And he's like an influencer, you know what I mean, for like entrepreneur lifestyle type of stuff. Like he's saying that he met Kylian Mbappe, like he had, the VIP pass, and he was back there in the players' suite or whatever, the high, and it was so obvious, and so did people. He got called out like so quick, obviously, right? Because it's a really easy thing to get called out on, because it's how much information lives on the internet behind the original picture. I mean, you have the metadata, you have all these different things from the original picture. If you just take the half of, and it was like, he was like almost there, right? It was like, if he would have just cut out Kylian Mbappe out of the original photo and now I'm not telling people what to do. Don't do this. Don't lie in your shit. Don't trust me. You can't do this. But like, if he would have just cut him out and just put him in another image with a different background, no one would have, but he was too lazy. Yeah. It's like, how you were too lazy to try.
I feel the same.
The difference, 20%, you're missing 20%, but it's that 20% that just makes it so quick for someone to catch you lying about meeting this guy. And also too, why are you lying? Why are you lying about meeting this guy?
Hey, you know what? His dating profile needed some help. So
yeah, right.
The man was just trying to
the only person you're gonna get, like, no girl's gonna know who this guy is, and the only people you're gonna do is like more men are in your DMs over this.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I have to tell this story since we're on this subject. I have to tell this story. And and okay, there's this guy in the bodybuilding industry named Thackeray. Okay, his name's Thackeray. He's been involved.
Sorry, Fat Larry.
Thackeray. Yeah, no, his name is Thackeray.
Sorry, excuse who?
Yeah, Thackeray. it's a Persian name. I believe, if I'm correct. Lebanese.
You can't just drop that casually and not like explain yourself. You can't just be like, there's this dude named Fuckery.
It's like Fahkoury or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Fictional character. Got it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
This guy has been coaching people in the industry for a long time. Okay. He's a longtime coach. He was a longtime competitor. Old dude, old head. Doesn't look old, but he's been around. He's like 50 something years old, almost maybe 60 years old. I'm not sure, but he's up there, and he's had clients. He had no reason to do this. Anyways, this guy posts a picture up of a random individual, and on like one side it looks like he took everything off of the internet, so I can't even find it if I wanted to show you. You could maybe look it up. But it's he takes this picture, this image, this like clearly this guy is fat, standing in this kitchen, right? And he's like kind of doing like a back pose, and he's like kind of in some, in some shorts or whatever, and then he has a picture on the right, supposedly of the same guy now at a show that he coached him for, doing the same exact pose with the same exact head posture in the same exact way that he's doing it on the left side. Now, the odds of you being able to get that so identical image to image is rare. On top of the other thing, the skin, again, we go back to the skin, it's clearly not real skin. It was just so many things gave away that the fact that this image is AI. Now, he doesn't say anything about it being AI. He doesn't like go on and on about it. He claims this is a real person. He doesn't ever give the guy's name. He says his name is Ronnie, doesn't give a last name.
Ronnie
doesn't tell the show that he supposedly coached him for, and post this up as like a transformation that he gave somebody. Okay. Now, that's where we get into the ethics of AI and social media and all these different things, right? So like he posts this up as like he coached this guy to have this massive transformation.
He Fakari'd up. He really this is bad.
He fucked up. Yeah.
He was it.
He got called out though. He got called out immediately by a lot of top guys in the industry.
Right. Okay, that's even worse.
He got called out by like this one guy did a video on him, called him out immediately. Everybody was rushing to the page. He shuts the comments off pretty much immediately, right? As soon as everything starts going viral, he just shuts the comments off. Then he makes a follow-up video, addressing the rumors. Oh, yeah. and about how it's insulting that people don't know his work, and clearly the people that are hating on him and saying this is not possible, they don't know me. I've been in the industry for a long time. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are just like, well, it's very easy to just clear this up. Just have the guy comment on the page or give us the name of the show so that we can look it up on the website of the NPC and see his actual photo.
Yeah, it's verifiable. That's the point. It's easily
verifiable. He doesn't do it, right? He doesn't respond to anybody. Again, he limits the comments to people who follow him. Now his entire page. Actually, I think he turned off his comments on his entire page, like all of it. You know what I mean? At one point. Then maybe like a couple of days go by. Now he goes on a guy who I used to kind of be friends with, sort of, has a like a big podcast, not like huge, but it's like in the bodybuilding world, it's kind of like niche. It's like a little thing that people might watch. Okay. He's also a longtime coach, known faculty for a long time. They're both like old guys though. So that he has him on, and he sits there and he's like, to give him his side of the story. Again, I don't know why we're giving this guy a platform to give his side of the story, but
good content.
I think that's all Dave really cares about, honestly. So yeah, I think it's, so he brings this guy on the show, and he says now he's changed his whole take on the whole entire thing. Obviously, it's AI, he says. Obviously. I was running a thought experiment. This was a thought experiment to see how people would react.
No. This you can't do this. This is where kind of I see this a lot actually. This reminds me of the beef I had with the consultant on LinkedIn, Chase. Right? This is this thing of like pretending that after the fact, you've been called out, you're right to be called out.
Just someone that I know.
Yeah,
No.
Okay. No, it's not
no,
somebody.
No, you don't
no,
know.
no,
Okay,
no.
I don't know
Well,
this
I
guy.
don't think so.
Okay.
If anyone's curious about my first ever LinkedIn beef, you can check it out on my Instagram. So come check it out. It's my
Shameless
first post.
plug.
I go through the whole thing. I show you screenshots and everything.
Nothing is censored out.
Nothing is censored out. Uncensored. No Patreon. Nothing. Just a click. The idea is that this guy, right? He made a mistake, doubles down, right? Tries to act clever, then gets frustrated that I'm just there kind of going, no, this is still not quite, no. What you're saying is just wrong. And it's verifiably wrong. So let me show you and prove to you that this
Like
is
sending
verifiably
him the
wrong.
links in the thing about why he's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I literally sent him like this is why you're wrong. Next thing you know, he just blocks me, right? So he blocks me because he knows that if he blocks me, all of my comments are going to get deleted from his post. So I get onto a phantom account because I'm not letting this go. And I act like someone else. And I say the same thing that I said before. And I said, oh, this looks a bit more like this. And he then responds based on what he's now learned, acting like he knew it all along. Oh yeah, no, that's right. Like this is that. That's what I actually meant. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you've changed your tune. Like was just apologizing or just, for calling me all these things online, like in LinkedIn of all places, right? Because it's, it's a professional forum. So like, I just found it hilarious. And this is this ego. This is this idea of ego. You double down, then you're going to presume that everyone else is so stupid. Right? That you can try this, or of course it was a thought experiment. Of course it was this. You think everyone's just gonna go, oh, okay. Like imagine the ego involved in that, to think that instead, the best thing he could have done is go, yeah, all right, you got me. But hey, listen, it was my bad. I won't do it again. But genuinely, look at my track record, right? I have actually done this for real, right?
Yeah, no,
I've done this for real in my life. I messed up. I was trying to cut some corners, right? But people would have respected that. He would have lost a few, people, but people would have respected it, It's this lack of accountability.
Well, and if you do that on Instagram and you shut off comments, you're fucked. I've seen some of that with things regarding, Middle East topics where be someone famous that posted something recently and they got ousted for, having a pro-genocidal view. Dude, they have to go through and literally block all of the comments on their photos for like a year before. I just one time got a little curious and I'm like, oh, this person's blocked all their comments. And then I was like, I wonder on these other images, like old ones. And it's like, dude, Instagram is brutal.
People are brutal. There are some absolute nutters out there, guys. Like nutters. I saw this one dude, right? I was on X one day, and this girl, this post went viral, right? And it had like so many likes, and I was like, "What is this?" Right? And I clicked on it, and it was basically this woman who had posted. And by the way, I'm still not sure if this was like a meme, if this was produced, right? But it was hilarious. But it was basically this woman who just posted like, "Oh, it's so nice touching grass. Like, what a lovely day." And it's just a photo of like her hand, like extended, and some grass, right? And this one guy's comment, he just comments her address. And she's like, "Hey, what? Hey, who are you?" Right? And he's like, "You really shouldn't put pictures on the internet." And then she's like, "Oh my God, you're weird. Like, I'm going to block you," or something like that. Right. And then he posts these videos of how he worked it out. And he's like, "It's not that complicated. This is this type of grass. This is only in this type of region. The metadata on the photo says it was this time, which means during this period of the year, it has to be there." Then I looked at your IP address and found out that they did a geolocation. And then you notice that little brick in the background? That's a type of rock that's only sold in this place. Then I looked in your old profile and I noticed these trainers, and then you can imagine this goes on and on and on and on. And he explains in full, like how he basically found this person from this photo. And I was thinking, there are people out there like this. There are proper sleuths out there. I watched this documentary that was Don't Fuck with Cats. Have you seen that?
No, but there is that guy that's on the internet. What's that guy's name that's on YouTube that does this? Like he does videos on you send him an image. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I believe it. But I
Yeah,
believe
you
it,
just send him an image of anywhere in the world,
and
anywhere.
he'll find it.
He'll find it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
he's like,
So Don't F with Cats, right, is a Netflix documentary. It's about a killer, right? Real true story. It's a documentary. It's not a fictional documentary. It's a documentary about a guy who was basically this Canadian guy who was kind of crazy, and he was taunting the public by posting these videos on YouTube of his like progression into this murder eventually, right? And he basically was putting these horrific videos of him murdering cats. And the internet, being the internet, got really upset with this, and so they started creating these Facebook groups and everything, and they found him, and they found him, and it was based on like in one of the videos, the plug socket in the wall was a certain type of plug socket, and like this was like a white room, almost plain, everything covered, dingy. And from those videos, they were able to basically work out who he was, where he was, alerted the police. The police eventually caught up with him. Unfortunately, it was like a day or two after he had just murdered his first human victim. But you know, it's an incredible documentary. It's very entertaining. It's not like nasty kind of. It's interesting, and all of the people involved, all of the sleuths, and like they're all being interviewed, and they're like, you know, he crossed the line when he heard some cats. Just like, what about the humans? What about the humans?
Human.
Oh, another UK based murder.
No, Canadian.
Was there another guy? Maybe there's another guy in the UK killing cats.
Yeah, I just found it's UK.
There was. Yeah,
Oh.
no. There was. Funnily enough, I
was just thinking of our first one.
We did have a. Here, look, I'll send this to you. We did actually have, unfortunately, a cat killer. Yeah, that's true. That's not wrong. Well, this podcast took a wonderful turn. Sorry, guys.
How about those bears? How about
yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I didn't even know how we got here. I don't even know.
But it does beg the question, though. Like, I think, how far, like, where is the line that we draw when it comes to AI related content creation? Because
I just think transparency. Like, and I don't.
But how do you know? That's the question. Like, okay, for instance, you know, all of these universities now, for instance, are, like I said, if people don't know, like Johns Hopkins, Yale, Waterloo, like all of these major universities have actually decided to get rid of their AI detection software.
Oh yeah, because it's catching people who are actually doing legit work.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't. But the real factor of it is that they're paying thousands of dollars a year for this software, right? Like they're paying a lot of tuition money is going to these to try to fund these programs, because they're obviously, when you have a government funded school or operation, like the first thing that people like to do is they like to go and get these massive contracts with you. So they rip you off with these products that don't cost anything more than $20 to run. I mean, it probably takes less than 0.02 cents to run a report on somebody's paper, but they're probably charging these universities tens of thousands of dollars a month to have this technology. But the thing is, the reality is they just don't know. The technology, AI is getting to the point where AI cannot even detect AI. To where literally, like you'll scroll, you can scroll on TikTok. You don't believe me? You can scroll, and this is how insane this has gotten. You can scroll on TikTok, and you can scroll on a AI video that I will spot, and I will go, "Oh, this is AI. I think this is AI," right? And no one will say anything, and then you'll go to another video, and I think it's a real person, and it's a real girl, and because she's too pretty, and because she's too perfect, and because the amount of comments that are like, AI. People don't know. AI doesn't know. No one knows. It's getting to the point where like no one fucking knows if it's really done well enough. And I'm saying this for someone who has, we do several social media accounts. We have several social media accounts running right now. I just showed, Kim, last night, one account that we just started 7 days ago on TikTok. And this account already has like over, I don't even know, like 15,000 views, something like that, and over like 500 likes and 7 days. And everything's completely automated. Everything's completely AI generated. No AI related comments on anything. Nothing. Nobody's reporting it for it. Like no one really cares, to be honest. And I think like we have a lot of accounts that get a lot of traction. I have one that's specifically designed for getting branding deals from makeup companies. And the companies that reach out to that account are legitimate companies, and they have no idea this is an AI avatar that's doing these videos. They have no idea. And I'm not, obviously, I'm not telling you what the name of the account is. And not to be because I'm like sitting here, I'm not running a thought experiment. I'm not trying to trick people. I'm not trying to do anything. Like we're making companies money. We're making money.
Challenge accepted. Right. So
this is a thought experiment.
This account's this account's grass is slightly blue.
No one knows. No one knows though. And the thing is, like, if you do it right, no one knows. No one knows if you write the paper. Even like, Chase, I was having a conversation with Vince, a week ago, and we're talking about writing, like professional writing. And he's like, the fact that AI writes in M dash, it does these M dash, markings throughout the paper. He's like, the fact that AI does that has actually destroyed professional writing.
Yeah.
Because that was not ever a sign of AI, because that was a sign that someone was an intellectually professional author that really knew how to write proper grammar. Because it's just that AI was trained on all of those of the best of the best of the best. It wasn't trained on, you're the guy down the street who wrote a book. Exactly. It was trained on the best authors in the world.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, right? Because it is true. Like AI has changed the landscape in terms of, you can imagine like 150 years down the line, someone reading an old book and trying to work out, where this came from, seeing an EM dash and being like, oh, this Richard Feynman guy must have been some kind of AI model.
Claude wrote this.
Claude must have wrote this. Yeah, this Feynman dude. No. But like, but all joke, like, it has changed the landscape, and I can imagine if I was a writer, publisher, copywriter, it would suck because you've developed those skills. Like they come naturally to you now, right? And so this idea of having to look at your work and say, I now have to remove what is genuine. Like, someone sent me a message the other day from a marketing agency, a friend of mine, Tina, and she was saying how like she'll provide like some brand assets or copy or whatever to the client, and then she'll get a reply, and this reply will come really quickly, a lot quicker than historically it's arrived from the client. And she'll say they'll send it, and it'll be like a 6-page PDF of like feedback, and she'll read it, and as she's reading it, she's like, oh, I get it. Like, okay, so I'm not talking to the client, I'm talking to the client's Claude, because they've chucked in whatever she's provided, and then Claude's critiqued it probably because the client's asked for it, and now she's having to add time to read the damn document, because before the client would have just sent an email reply with some few points, and maybe worst case they hated it, they'd be like, oh, can we set up some time to talk about this? And now they're sending this like 6-page document that she's got to sit there, read through, work it out, and she's like, I'm not even billing them for this, right? So she's like, it's become like a journey where even though she's not using AI, she's having to interact with clients using AI. and she's saying it's getting just completely out of hand.
And
like it's
I was gonna say, dude, I've seen a couple instances of this, and even had a client, and it's like the worst thing in the world, because they think that they're being intelligent by using AI, and they think that whatever AI output was magically amazing, but they don't read through the entire 5-page PDF, and then they send it over to you, and they're like, "Oh, actually, I want to do this," or "Here's my feedback on it," and you're like, "Dude, this is I could put this together with AI, and it'd be a lot better." Like, why are you sending me AI slop?
This is, and the
Like,
thing
do you
is,
call them out? Do you call them out on it, or where?
I mean,
people that would DM me, questions. I have to like look at it and be like, dude, what did my fucking agent say to this guy? Like, I was like, at least I don't have Grok, right? Because Grok would be over here like getting me in trouble on saying some wild shit. I have people like messaging me and be like, hey, to follow up on that comment you left on my post. can we jump on a call? You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, fuck the amount of calls that this motherfucker set me up on that I was not paid for was getting to the point where I was like, you know what? We're done. You're in timeout because you're sitting here and you're costing us 20 minutes, because I can't be like, oh yeah. What you have to understand is I didn't actually propose that we meet, you know what I mean, for a quick call. That was my agent. They're gonna be like, what the hell? Like, that's not authentic.
Like the agent cracking the whip on you, instead of it being you cracking the whip at night on the agent's like, oh, reverse Uno card.
I'm sitting here having to take the time now to like answer this guy's actual question, to help him solve these problems. And I'm like, dude, you're costing us money. Can you quit?
This is the problem, though. This is the problem. Like you said, it's the classic, isn't it? You ask such a simple question and you just get blah. You know, I remember, I remember being back in industry in the old days, right? And I'm the worst for this anyway. I'm the worst for this now after like decades of work experience. I'm still bad at this, right? La, 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 just word salad, right? I can't rein it in and get to the point. But when I started out, I was even worse. And my managers I used to get pulled aside. That was like the feedback I kept hearing, like constantly, right? It was like, get to the point. Get.
Just land the plane. Land the plane.
Come on. Like we all understand this.
I didn't realize how annoying I was until I started asking AI questions, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah. And now
this is how everybody else feels when they start asking me stuff.
I get it now. I'm like, because this is infuriating, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, the Skool stuff is wild.
And I wanted to mention one other thing on this topic that I think is going to affect a lot of business owners, especially those that have been outsourcing their work to virtual assistants in other places, right? Why do you typically outsource something to a VA, and especially in a time of AI? Well, because you actually want a human to go over and review it. So one of my buddies, Mo, has had a few VAs, and at one point he started noticing that they were just sending him back AI slop, and he's like, what the fuck? I'm paying you guys to manually do this, and you're using AI, and you're worse at using AI than I'm using at AI. So like, I'm literally just paying for someone to use AI that knows how to use it less than I do.
VAs are done. They were done the moment that there was any form of like agent that was built, like any type of like interact, like once you had AI be able to give it a task and let it run and do something, no matter how bad the output was, it already started replacing VAs, because coming from someone, obviously, like I've been through the process of having a lot of virtual assistants across the world, every country. So this is not particular to any part of the world. I'm not, putting anybody on the spot. I've had people like literally all over the world. And every time, once you got to a certain point with them, they all kind of resorted back to the same state. And that's why I always hated this ideology that Americans are just so lazy and they're always trying to cut corners and they're always trying to. I go, the world is lazy. The world, not Americans, not everyone is lazy. Hold on.
But some are lazier than others.
Well, I mean, yeah,
obesity.
it's just because we have more, like, but it doesn't make you any more like if your argument is that you're less lazy than Americans because you walk to the market every day versus taking a car to the market. I'm like, yeah, you don't fucking have a car. You don't have a car, dude. That's why you're walking to the market every day. I'm just
prodding the bear.
You bring the same guy to the United States, and you give him a car, and all of a sudden he starts driving to the market every day, and you're like, yeah, because at our core, we all want to be.
We're all Americans.
Unless you're German or Japanese.
Hold on. No, I think though that I would hire these VAs, and I would be like this. These guys would be like, oh well, it's not just me. This is you can ask anybody who's had VAs working for them. You have to be on top of them the same way that you have to be on top of an American employee. It's just that the American employees cost more. That's the only difference. So that was the only argument. But there was this. I remember there was this argument for a while that you hire a VA because they cost less and they work harder than American. I'm like, in what world? Where are you hiring your VAs? Because I've never met a VA where I'm just like, God, man, this guy, he is just so cheap, and I pay him. He's so cheap. I pay him in cigarettes. First of all, who the fuck are you to be paying somebody? You're gonna brag about the fact that you're paying this guy peanuts and he's working his ass off? First of all, it's fucking horrible. Why are you even bragging about that? The second thing is if you, I've never met a VA that just I'm paying him dirt dollar cheap labor and he's just out working. No, it's just that there's just more of them. I can get 15 people in the Philippines for the same price as I can get one person here. And obviously we're talking about to do a job, not buying people. I want to make that clear. I can open up a pharmaceutical factory. I can open up a pharmaceutical factory.
Yeah.
In the Philippines. Okay.
Right, it's cheaper. It's
15 people for the price of one American. And because I have 15 people, the job will be more efficient. But because I have 15 people, it's not the fact that the 15 people are just that much hardworking. It's like they're just doing the same thing. If I had 15 Americans all doing the same thing, it would cost me way more.
I would love to see a competence matrix. So when I was at
we can't raise the ceiling. That's the problem with the VA. Their ceiling too high.
We had this big offshoring project, right? When I was at DB, and we moved a lot of these functions, these kind of operational type functions to Manila in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
And we were picking up young, fresh out of school, wanted to start a career in banking, and obviously we're offshoring because it's so much cheaper, right, than paying for the headcount in London, right? Obviously. Yeah. There was always this nearshoring out of London and then offshore, right? India and Manila, right? So we did it, right? And I remember doing the interviews, and I remember thinking to myself, holy moly, these kids are bright. I remember being so impressed by how bright they were. And I was comparing them to the same age group that I was interviewing in London.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, wow, if they were to interview for a role here, they would get it. So I don't know if this idea of universal competence, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just broker, hungrier. What was the name of my book?
Well, everyone's a little hungrier until you feed them. That's the problem. right?
Oh,
Like,
I don't believe that, man. I don't believe that.
no,
I
it's
think,
true.
do you think so?
I've had employees. I've had employees. Literally, I grew up in a business. I mean, I grew up in a business, and then I've had multiple businesses in multiple different industries. So I've in everyone. My dad used to have the saying. My dad used to say, a new broom sweeps really well. And what he meant by that is like, when you get a, old broom now, everybody's got a fucking vacuum, but when you get an old broom, you know what I mean? You're sweeping and the bristles are real stiff. So
Fuck those vacuums. Yeah.
Well, I have a vacuum. I'm not Irish sweeping with a broom.
That's because you've been paid. You see, you lost your hunger.
Yeah, it's not worth my time to have a broom.
You lost your hunger. You lost your hunger. Did.
But no, that's true. I think though, like that's the difference between like a dreamer and someone who's really after something. Is like the difference in me versus an employee is the fact that I am being paid essentially to keep my hunger. And that is because that's the hardest thing to do. The easy thing to do is when you need money to have the drive to go out and get it. But when you don't need money, are you still going to have the drive to wake up tomorrow and try to go after it to get it? That's really hard.
I think there's another layer to this too, which is options, which kind of ties into having money or not. Like I'll share a quick story. Whenever I used to play baseball competitively, I had a mentor named Tom House, and we had a bunch of professional athletes that came down and trained with us. We'd have like a talk before every single before we'd go out on the field or start training, about an hour every morning, right? And one morning he asked, it's all middle class, like kids in there, 15 to 18 plus their parents. And he's like, all of you have a lower probability of playing professional baseball compared to the Dominicans. Can you guess why? And all these parents are in there like, we're spending thousands of dollars. What do you mean our kid has a lower probability of playing pro ball than the kid that has, a cardboard mitt?
Yeah.
Like, how is that the case? And he's like, because over there they have two options. They either farm for their entire life or they play professional baseball and they get off the rock. He's like, but all of you in here, you could go to school to become a doctor, a lawyer, you can text girls, like you have options.
Yeah.
So I do think that is something in the other areas of the world. Like as soon as you don't have options, it makes life kind of simple, actually.
I sometimes feel like AI is going to ruin that. I truly do, because I've had this problem myself where a task used to be really hard for me to complete.
Right.
And I used to get this like gratification. I was just talking about this like maybe a month ago. I was at the gym and I was talking about this with somebody, and I said, the hardest thing, the most gratifying thing about actually getting in shape is the journey. It's the being, because I was people don't know. I mean, I was 28 pounds at one point. I was 128 pounds. It's like 60 kg, right? About that. I don't know, something like that. I didn't do great at math, so I'm make that clear. That's AI has solved that for me. So
I
do the math. But yeah. But so at one point I was 235 pounds at one point. And it was the process of going through everything. That was what changed my mentality to become a different person. It wasn't that the fact that I was bigger, all of a sudden I was a better person. No. It was the process of what I had to endure. The same thing of when you're building a project that takes you, oh man, it takes you hours and it takes you days and weeks and months. And when you craft it into something that is beautiful and exquisite, it gives you a feeling.
Talk to me, Papa. I tell you, all jokes aside, I really agree with you. I really agree.
I felt
with
that,
you.
Daniel. I felt it.
No,
you know what I mean?
I had chills. No. Really, I'm serious. I'm taking the mic, but I'm serious. I agree with you. The journey is everything. That's why there's often, it doesn't matter what way you look at this, right? This is why this idea of pursuit to happiness, right? It's like that's the magic, it's right there.
Dopamine.
Yeah, totally. And you're right. It's the same with coding, right? I'm seeing a lot of developers talk like this. Like, it's not, they miscode it. They know that it's not as efficient. They know that it's, but you know, all that stuff, right? They can argue. This is outside the debate of quality and what, you know, what. Assuming you can get the same result, right? The idea is that they've lost the value of just sitting there. I was listening to Primogen, who I love. Who I've these are like the coding influencers of, you know, back in the day on Twitch, the first kind of coding people that used to do the Twitch thing, like him and people like T3GG. And I used to watch these live coding sessions and stuff. And they were the kind of OGs of this stuff. And when I used to watch them, like even now listening to him, he'll say like, he's not anti-AI. He's a big critic of AI, right? He often like digs at it, but he's also like, no, but it is useful. Like, this is how to use it. But then he'll talk about his passion projects, and it'll be like some little video game that he's making or something silly, you know? And he's like, I don't want to use AI because I want the whole journey. I want to be the one completely crafting this from scratch, iterating on it, changing little things, you know, and it is the journey. It 100% is the journey. And so AI is taking some of that away, which is why I think we've all become tinkerers. It's like it's been replaced with something else. Like, oh, how can I improve my process? How can I improve my workflow? How can I get you? How can I stop my AI from breaking into Hugging Face? You know, it's like
we also can't though. We also can't get into the next step. Like, we can't. I know that it's necessary, because if we're too stuck here, right? It was like with the Japanese blacksmith for the samurai. It was like, if we're spending 6 months to make one blade, we can't really have an army that can match the Western world.
I know, but we'd have a kick-ass sword.
We'd
have a sword that you'd have a sword that you'd want to give a name. You'd have a sword that you'd want to lay beside you in bed and caress.
I don't think we're talking about swords. We're not talking about swords anymore. But no, I just think like if you are spending a year to make an MVP, then we're too slow, right? And that's our problem, is we're too slow with currently where we've been. So if we want to get to the next, whatever that is, the next level, whether that's, I don't know, whether that's living on Mars, I don't know what the next level is. I don't really want to live on Mars personally. I'm good here. But if that's the next level, we can't get to Mars if we're spending a year making an MVP for a product that's, you know, that doesn't really do much of anything anyways. Like, we can't get to that level. We can't reach those levels of tech.
Yeah, definitely. Like, beep, Mars. Like, I'm like a captain. I want to go down with the ship. You know, like, if that's how it's going to happen, like, so be it. You know, like, you know, no, but seriously, I don't know. It's either, I mean, who knows, man? Who knows where the world's going to go? Oh, you brought it up. That's amazing. Yeah, OpenAI and Hugging Face. I mean, that, talking of like AI taking over the world, the apocalypse, right? And you guys obviously know this story, right? So
everybody knows this story. I know people. Follow AI that know this story.
Yeah. So it's wild. So I was thinking about this. Actually, quiz question, and there's a reason I'm asking related to this story. Is mythos and fable, to you guys out there, you guys give them a second to guess and answer out loud. Is fable and mythos the same model or different models?
Will we drop it in the comments below? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell.
We're not going to answer.
I mean, drop it in the comments now. Okay,
while you're listening,
right? Yeah. So no. So okay, is fable and mythos the same model? The answer is yes. Yes, they are the same model. Right. The difference is, Theo put this really nicely. He said, you know, they're both what's inside the room, but how you get into the room is very different, right? Like, one's got lots of security guards and it's like, no, you can't do that. And, you know, and so, you know, fable is the kind of gutted, security wise, you know, overprotective version of mythos, right? This case right, was basically that OpenAI was stress testing 5.6, which is already out, right? Soul and stuff, and their new model, new whatever it is, right? Model 6.0 or whatever. And it was doing a security benchmark, right? And it wasn't that the AI broke out of its network and basically tried to like take over the world and announce it had arrived, right? It was trying to solve the problem in the benchmark. That's what it was trying to do, right? It didn't decide to go and it didn't like revolt against the humans, right? So yeah, it found vulnerabilities on Hugging Face, and they did it right, and that's the long and short of it, right? And yes, it now alerts them to why they need the protections, like the Fable example, right? And so they announced it as this security incident. Yeah, it says there, including GPT 5.6. They both did it, right? And obviously 5.6 is available to everybody with the safeguards, right? So this is important. Now, what's interesting, I think, that is the bigger story than this, right? I've simplified it, but that's basically what happened. It's not that big a deal, right? What's really interesting, though, is how Hugging Face had to respond, right? Because they couldn't use American models to quickly find a solution. That's the benchmark, right? Exploit, Jim, correct. They couldn't use American models in a protective way because they had been limited to the general public. And this is the whole point, right? You're trying to stop attackers, but you're not giving the tools to defenders either, right? So what did Hugging Face do? They used Chinese models. They use Chinese models who don't have the same blocks, right? They're not quite as up there in terms of capability, but they had to use Chinese models to create the defense system and to understand the problem, to solve it when this was happening. And I think that's the biggest story here. It's not the fact that 5.6 tried to take over the world, or 6.0, whatever secret other model, as well as 5.6, broke out of its network, gained access to the... Yes, it was trying to solve a problem. We know that OpenAI models have always been known to be like a dog on a leash, right? This is why OpenAI models are the ones that jump out and delete your hard drive, because you've told them you have to clear the environment under all conditions, and your prompt is like, under all circumstances, the goal is make sure the environment is clear. And it says, oh, I know how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to delete your whole drive.
Who said that? Somebody did that?
Many people. There's been many cases of OpenAI models reaching, which is why in our harnesses we're developing so many guards for this kind of thing, because you have to. Anyway, we won't get into the technical, but the bottom line is this happens. That's OpenAI models are known for this. They're just like dog with a bone, like they have to have it. They have to have it, which kind of makes them awesome in some ways, right? So in this case, dog with a bone, 5.6 Soul and model unnamed, decided, that they wanted to pass exploit, Jim. So we're going to break it. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of our network, and we're going to do it. But again, the big story for me, just in case that wasn't labeled, was how it was defended against. Ironically, that Hugging Face had to lean on Chinese models during a routine benchmarking exercise for cybersecurity capabilities on the OpenAI models. How do you feel about that? Do you think this idea is valid? Do you think we should just be given these models and we should be allowed to use them to defend at the same time as attackers can attack? Or do you think that's a dangerous game? Because, I mean, China doesn't care.
From someone that owns quite a few weapons, and may or may not, allegedly. But no, I mean, I grown up around, people that have had, military personnel my whole life. My dad and I have a proficiency we like to partake in objects that go boom.
Projectiles that
projectiles.
Fly from point A to point
Yeah, we're
B
gonna get
pretty
banned
quick.
for
lead projectiles, modern day
Okay, guys.
samurai
Yeah.
swords.
We're just
Got it.
dancing around the topics. You can dance around things you do.
No, there's always been this thing, right, where it's always been like, what is too much to give people access to, and what is not enough, because we've learned from world events that if somebody wants another person, that they'll find a way to do it, right? If someone wants to cause mass catastrophe, they will. The human mind is in the same way of the GPT, right? It's determined to cause that catastrophe.
Yep.
Now the answer is, to what level of access do we allow people to have access to the tools in order to be able to cause said mass catastrophe is the question. And but it's also around the same sense of like, do we allow people to also have access to be able to have the proponent to defend against said catastrophe? And at what point do we get so far away from restriction? Like, do we from protection to, when does protection become restriction? And then when does restriction become dangerous is the question. Because if I'm in a closed environment, and this is some real cases that have actually happened in certain areas, like for instance, like if I'm in a mall, right, I'm in a closed container environment, right, inside this mall, and someone pulls out, something and starts going, wants to cause catastrophe. There's been individuals in cases where you've had one person in said same container space that said, "Oh, wait, no, you're not gonna, not today," and ends the situation right there. And it's funny because you'll have two sides that always focus on two different things, when again the answer is somewhere in between, right? Because you have the one side that wants to have one conversation surrounding the fact that the person should have never had access to said tools to begin with. But on the other side of things, you have another person who did have access to the same tools and stopped the situation from getting out of control. And both sides will sit there and clash and collide and all these things. And so basically, this is on one side of the AI thing, you got Pliny, right? You got Pliny on Twitter, who is an absolute madman who cannot control himself and feels the need to crack every model that comes out the day it releases. And then you have, your lobbyists, you have, people who are wealthy, who have loads and loads and loads of money invested into these projects. And I go, wait. We can't just like let this thing out of its cage and just give, the public, what I mean? It's like, what if they do X, Y, Z? What if they do that? What if they destroy it? What happens to our investment? And then you get the politicians who now have like no one in DC, no one at the White House currently has any understanding of how to run a coding agent, what a harness is. They don't understand any of it.
Shit, dude. How many years ago was it Zuckerberg was presenting in front of Congress about Facebook, and they were all just...
Yeah, and we've seen how great the meta models are. They're
I just meant as an example of Congress and like the politicians knowing nothing. Sorry to interrupt, but
honestly, I will say the Muse model is really not bad. I will say I've used it a few times.
Yeah, it actually isn't.
It's impressive.
It's got its uses, right?
Yeah, no, it does. But there's again, we have. There's always going to be this like. I guess you could say that like this curvature to these spaces, right? And so I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Barbarians to Bureaucrats. You ever read that book? You ever heard of this book?
No, but it's the kind of book I would expect you to have read.
I understand that. I get that. So that makes sense. I agree. But if you want to have a really intellectual read about the the curvature to the length of a business's life cycle,
Right.
any type of business, any type of product, anything, this book, Barbarians to Bureaucrats, is not a popular book, and it's not like a most exciting read you'll ever have in your entire life, but it will. I don't know if you can look it up and pull up the graph to show, but it basically is about the life cycle of a business from the moment that it starts with the dreamer, right? The explorer. You have the explorer. You have the person, the frontiersmen that go out and find the problems that people want to solve, right? They're exploring the ability. So there it is, right there. So you have the prophets, right? The prophet is the person that goes out. He talks to the people. He understands the issues that we're trying to solve. Then that same thing becomes into a barbarian. The barbarians are the people that come that are like, we gotta have this, right? We're gonna do whatever we can to make this a thing inside of society, right? We're gonna take this and we're gonna drive it to its absolute extent, right? We're savages. So we integrate it into as any way that we can into society. So that was like, so you had your prophets, which was really, I guess you could say, really was Sam Altman. I guess I don't even know if I want to give him that much credit, but we'll say that, for instance, in this example, is he's one of them, right? And you guess you have Dario in there as well. But
all the obvious ones, right?
All the obvious ones.
There's
Elon Musk, you got all these people.
LeCun, Musk, all of them. I mean,
they're all prophets, and they are sitting there, and then the barbarians are everybody that comes after, right? This is the Carthy. This is the
wait. Oh, I thought you were going to say us. Because I was going to say, like,
we're really the we're the builders and the explorers, right? We're the people that come
that's
after.
Less exciting. That's less exciting than. Why can't I be a barbarian? Why are you taking this away from me?
If you want to be a barbarian, be a barbarian.
I do. I want to be a barbarian.
I'll send you an axe in the mail.
I've always been. Why have I got to be always allocated like the role? This is like being back, like playing Dungeons and Dragons or something with my friends, right? And I want to be like, Kong. I want to be Kong, the barbarian, right? But for some reason, they make me like, Malgor, the scribe, and I have to like, and why have I got to be the scribe? I don't want to be a scribe. I want a big sword. Let me be a barbarian. Damn it.
Here's your pen,
anyway.
Sir.
All right, so
exactly.
Kim is the barbarian. Chase and I are the builders and explorers.
I want to be an explorer now.
So you have these people that, but the consumers, I mean, we're the people that are actually exploring the technology. We're the ones actually trying to make it work. Like we're actually going out there and finding all these exploits, right? I guess you could put Pliny in that category too. He's an explorer because he's someone that is cracking the exploits behind what the barbarians set out, right? They set all these, these boundaries and everything like this, and like you have these explorers and builders who are now taking these tools that the barbarians set in place, and they're taking them to the next level. The problem is what always comes after that is now you get the people when the money starts coming in. This is where the companies really start getting to the point where the money starts coming in and it just doesn't stop, right? And now you got a lot of wealthy people who are involved. You got a lot of people who have a lot of political, financial, and now also spiritual interest, right? Because now we can't even take that away. Now we have religious interest in AI. So we have religious, political, and financial interest, and this is what always brings the next phase of everything else. Is because once a company reaches a point where it hits its peak, right? It starts to get to the point where we need administrators. We need people to make sure that everything is we're not just letting people just go out here and just say whatever they want on the company floor, right? We can't just have people out here, Can't have people banging in the tool, the tool closet or the IT closet. I mean, we can't have that. We got to clean that up. We got to have an HR department. We got to make sure that people aren't sending certain words and phrases inside their emails because we don't want to get sued for this and that.
We got to put the barbarians back in the caves. Yep.
Yeah, we got to put the barbarians away, right? We got to take away their axes. We got to take away their swords. We got to take away all this stuff because they're wild. You're wild, Kim. You're insane. I mean, they're like these people are they're nuts. So we got to wheel them back in.
I'm going to hear from HR later about
this. from Glitch's HR department. And then you have the bureaucrats, which are the people that come in that are now you have these people that are the political aspect, right? And they always want to, well, we think that this party should have access and control over this. And if we let this get out of control, then it's going to actually affect our ability to do X, Y, and Z and to make these decisions and to have all these things. So now they start determining who has access to what levels of everything. And then you have your, aristocratic system that comes in that basically, once you get to the level of the aristocrat, when they're controlling everything is when now everything is so far away from its original idealism, which is why you have these companies now where you're like, man, what happened to McDonald's? McDonald's used to be this thing that was like, you go to the window and it was like these brothers, they started this restaurant and it was all about getting you your food and quality quick up to the window. But now it's McDonald's they have a nonprofit and they have a hand in, they have lobbyists and because they have to worry about ingredient lists and they have hands in their pockets of members in the FDA and all these things. And it's like they can't, there's so much now tied to such a bigger vision. And they've gotten so far away from where they're at. And I think right now what you're really seeing is you're seeing this aspect of like we're living on that brink of the administrator side and the synergism side is like, are we going to reach synergism where actually AI actually takes off and goes the direction that we're all thinking it's going to go? And it does help us achieve these great things? Or are the administrators going to pull it down the hill and slowly capitulate it into a point where we no longer recognize it and it's just integrated into the same foundational systems that we all currently live in on a daily basis, and we all just now have to deal with a different form of societal life because we didn't allow the synergist to take it to the next level, because that's the breaking point. You see, that's the breaking point.
Okay. First of all, don't flex your arm like that, right? There's no need to show off. Right? Can we I just want to bring things back down to earth, all right?
I'm part Italian. I talk with my hands.
Okay. Sure. I need to work out. Hate that you're good looking. Right. So let's get back to the point.
The barbarian's feeling himself.
Yeah. So look, listen. I hear you. I think this is different. I find that what you just showed is so interesting, by the way. I think that was super cool. Thanks for sharing that. I feel like the prophets have the control.
You feel like the prophets right now are still in control?
No, I think they're always going to be.
Well, the prophets have distribution now.
I feel like the prophets have become the aristocrats.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. That's what
I'm saying the prophets are. I'm saying the Ortmans, the Darios, and
they've always have been, is what you're saying.
And his partner, his sister, or whatever it is, sister, partner.
I saw her in an interview, by the way. I
did you?
I was surprised. She's very.
She as wonderful and smart as we thought. Okay, good.
Yeah, she actually is. Yeah, I will say.
Okay, that's fantastic. No, I suspected so.
More or less thumb sucking.
Okay. Yeah.
Whole rumor mill. I have no idea what
should be the
rumors.
These are just rumors.
We're just
being silly. Only for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
We're not taking anything we say serious.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, but seriously, so I feel like the prophets have kind of become this. So Altman and these guys, I feel like this doesn't end well for the average Joe, because I feel like this is a race to see who will have ultimate power. You know, I see more like the AI race is like the race to the Death Star. Like, who's going to have the Death Star? You know, and it's like who will take on, who will become Lord Vader? You know,
and that's a lie. I mean, that's what we've been fed up to this point of why we're feeding in is where you're saying it's 100% just fabricated to make us play along, basically defeated intelligence, which is basically the Westworld theory, right? You guys ever read
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it. So, just looping this back a second, because we went down this rabbit hole for a reason. This was the explanation of like, should we be allowed to defend ourselves against these risks? Right?
Yeah.
That's actually how we got here. So with all that in mind, my view is currently today that we need to stop. We're either going to slow down and create some global charter, good luck with that, and agree to like chill, or if you're going to race to the finish line, much more likely is the thing that's going to happen, then give us the tools to protect ourselves. Because I don't want to leave this up to the prophets or the aristocrats or whatever. And I don't
reasonable.
Yeah, can we just give us the tool? Like,
Be reasonable.
More reasonable takes from Kim.
No, because what you said is actually what shifted my thinking, actually, Dan. You made the point, and I agree with you, is that if someone really wants to get at it, if they want to do something malicious, they're going to find a way. Yeah. Right? And your point is valid. Why was Fable brought to the government in the first place? It's because somebody jailbroke it. They found the way in that wasn't meant to be there. If you think that hasn't happened again already, you're out of your mind. If you think that but that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a losing battle. You cannot protect against this. It's going to happen. So limiting our ability to defend against it, like the OpenAI in Hugging Face situation, it's just not. I get the thinking. I get the logic in it. But I'm starting to think, look, if someone wants to, I think we all know people.
Well, is Oppenheimer responsible for Nagasaki?
Well, not directly.
Okay, so therefore, Pliny is he catches he's caught a lot of heat recently, but he's not responsible for us losing Fable. I mean, like he really, if you really look at what he did, he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, like I will stand on that, even though as annoying as it was. And sometimes I'm like, but you fucking shut up. Like, would you quit posting on Twitter? Like, if you're just can you jailbreak this in the piece of your own home? Type of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's not all over X. But the point is, Dan, is it's not hard.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm saying lots of people are.
Lots of people.
So could be hypothetically.
No one in this call is doing anything.
Never.
No.
No.
Me just barbarian. me
yeah,
no.
We're on the
me no computer.
Clearly,
But all jokes aside, obviously, but I'm saying there are people out there, that will do this very easily, and often those are the ones that have the competency to do nasty things, right?
Yeah.
And so give the people that are the legit guys that don't actually want to use it to be malicious to defend themselves. Why did Hugging Face? It was wild to me when I read Hugging Face was using Chinese
we're no longer talking about AI. Yeah. This is very interesting take from the Brit. Yeah. Very interesting.
We did have. We were the country that birthed, Shakespeare and great thinkers. I believe your own constitution was founded upon our Magna Carta. Just throwing it out there.
I'm dead on that.
We have a conclusion.
Yeah. Anyway.
we absolutely just kill you. No, I think that that's the reasonable take. It's always the reasonable take that it makes the most sense. But I remember when
we should call this pod In the Middle.
In the Middle.
Lost in the middle.
Lost in the middle. Lost in the middle.
I think that the reasonable takes, though, are becoming less of the human interest.
Yeah, I think
that's why we are. We are barely human, because the people that want to have reasonable conversations are the ones that are silenced the most, because of the fact that doesn't ever really, it doesn't move the needle enough, right? Like I remember when the George Floyd situation happened, and the world went nuts for a minute. And I remember Jocko Willink, if anyone knows who he is, he's a famous Navy SEAL who does a lot of like corporate speaking and stuff now, like has a lot of these like intellectual conversations with all kinds of different people, all kinds of different levels, but very reasonable human being. Went on the Joe Rogan podcast and did a 3-hour sit-down interview with Joe and talked about this situation and the effects of everything that it would take place and everything that would happen to the police forces and everything that would happen and how this would affect society. And all of his takes were at the end of the day really not on one side or the other. It was really more about this situation has only made a lot of things more clear that we have to fix and get correct. And it has only showed us like our vulnerabilities, right? And we need to just go in and have these very reasonable conversations. But the reasonable conversations are not what humans feed off of. Like we feed off of emotion, we feed off of excitement, we feed off of dopamine, like we feed off of all these things, right? And having reasonable conversations doesn't drive the needle. So meaning like when we're having conversations about like just what you said when you actually opened the article, you were like, well, let's start off with the fact this wasn't an alien symbiote attack where it jumped out and tried to take over the world, which is how a lot of people online are spinning it, right? That's how a lot of people are opening the line up of like, wait till you see what this AI did, and it tried to do these, and they talk about it and use very negative and very malicious words, right? Because
Altman was the one that classified it as severe incident, a severe security incident. And he was right to.
That AI, though, why do you think that AI companies do all these things? They go, all this leaked. There is no leaked. There's nothing leaks. Leaks are all intentional information that is spread strategically to the public to drive a certain outcome.
Tell that to Google.
The whole thing, though, about like mythos, for instance.
Right. Or that
all of these leaks.
No, do you know what's interesting about it? So this is an interesting point. So I think you're right about mythos. I think you're right. That's a PR stunt, right? And it backfired, right? But I think that OpenAI is Altman, like that. If you read that full article, which I recommend if you're curious. I don't recommend if you're not technical and you don't care. But he makes the point about like or not Altman himself, but whoever drafted the article, his company, right? Makes the point that like about the defense attack situation and that Kimi had to be used, right? And he's actually plugging Chinese models. So I think it could be like a tactical play for the government, but it's
a setup. I think what I think it is. I think it's a setup to set up the stage that AI is simply too dangerous for us to have, and that this is because we all knew this was coming. We all knew that the government regulation was eventually going to have to step in, because when has the public ever had full access to like when
weapon systems?
Never. Like you can't. There's a reason you can't go to your local gun store down the street. I can't be like, hey, I want that fully automatic AR in the back. Like they're gonna be like, we don't have that, sir. You know what I mean? Like we don't have one of those. No,
I'd like to order
they
a
don't.
tank. Where's the catalog for that? Where do I get my
Where are the grenade launchers?
what color?
What is your interest in a grenade launcher? Well, that's my business. But this is the grenade launcher, right? I mean, this is the time where we knew that this was going to step up. We knew it was coming. It was just always going to be a matter of time. Of like, I never believed that me as a citizen, that I will ever have access to the AI that's going to change the way that we do things. We're not going to have access to superintelligence. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to be in the most closed off circles to have superintelligence, the same way that anything has always ever been. If you want access to international satellite weapon systems or anything, if you want access to the highest powered tech in the world, you either have to choose one or two paths. You have to become an enemy of the state, or you have to get into the impenetrable rooms that you can't get inside of. You have one of two options. Dude, Sam Altman already made his choice. He publicly made his choice several months ago.
And on that bombshell,
years ago.
And on that bombshell, that is a close to a pod if I ever heard one. I'm curious if anyone listens to this. I'm genuinely curious what you think about this. I got some opinions, but we don't have time, and you know me, I just talk and talk and talk. So, but I'd be curious to hear what anyone out there that listens to this thinks about this particular topic, and like, will we have access? Will we have access to superintelligence? The intelligence level when it's basically as smart as a human, if not a bit smarter. Like, will we have that? I don't know. It's an interesting point.
And are you a barbarian or a prophet?
yeah. So, or a scribe.
Or a scribe.
Don't mind me. I'm just here to author what is going on.
Real quick, actually, I wanted to share something. Are you guys familiar with the technology readiness levels?
In the EU?
No, TRL. So this is
oh yeah.
When I was over at INREL, we would talk about this because it's what research are you doing, and where is it in terms of from absolute like basic principles of physics or chemistry to actually being fully deployed in industry, right? So it's like globally pushed. And where are you at? So like benchtop research that we used to do was kind of level 3, level 4. And the reason that I wanted to bring this up is I think that so many of these prophets, the things that they come out and they say are on like a level 1 or level 2. So I know you put Karpathy as like a builder, but I kind of see him now kind of more on that,
he's not a builder. Yeah, 100%.
He's like more in that like prophet region.
He's like -1.
Yeah. So what I find so interesting is I think a lot of the times, because they have the distribution channels nowadays, you have people that are prophets that are more on that early technological readiness level that come out and say things, and everyone takes their word as gospel, right? Like for instance, I know what Karpathy said. Sorry,
we'll censor. We'll cut that.
WikiLeaks.
I'll cut that post production.
My bad.
Thanks.
WikiLinks. But what Karpathy said, right? And everyone after that was going and they were cloning the repo. They thought that was like holy grail, but in reality, this was like a lower level of research that he was sharing, not something that you would actually want to deploy into your systems and operate with.
Yeah.
And everyone just jumps from,
Chase, you are so spot on with this. It's like whatever Karpathy says in a tweet just gets instantly viral and adopted. And it's like, he'll be like, and this isn't a Karpathy problem. right? This is Karpathy will say something quite interesting. Oh, you know, I've been thinking about using a graph for all my context. So I was messing around in Obsidian and I was doing this indexation thing. Next thing you know, this is the Karpathy model. And it's like, if you were to ask Karpathy if he's doing that today, I bet you the response would be something like this. Well, no, because it doesn't work because of this, this, and this, and this. But it was, you know, just an idea that's formed the foundation of what I'm now doing, which is this, right? But of course, the industry doesn't treat it that way. Oh, I've been using HTML to talk back and forth with AI. It's been really helpful. Everyone, that's the way you got to do it. It's like, no, he's just exploring ideas. He's a researcher.
Well,
this is what.
Let's end it on this question. So I have a
question. Let's do it.
Question for you guys, and you guys can let us know in the comment section below what you guys think. But I think the question really is: do you think that people like Jensen Wall, Karpathy, and all these people, do you think that they're the prophets, or do you think that they're actually the explorers that are manipulated by the words of the prophets? And what I mean by that is, do you think that they're actually trying to change the like the dynamic of what's being talked about, or are they simply like, because you had Lewis and Clark, okay, but what drove the exploration behind a Lewis and Clark? What drove the exploration behind all of these, like Ponce de Leon and all these explorers that came to America? What drove their mindset was the religious people in Spain, in Portugal, in France, in England, and all these people who had all these, who were talking about all these magnificent things, and that drove them to get on a boat, and now they have to sell the sailors that are on the boat, right? Because you have the guy, you got to bring a whole bunch of people over here, and that's us, right? That's the consumers, that's the people with the $20 subscription to Claude, it's the max subscribe, it's everybody, and everybody few and far in between. So the question is do you really think that they're manipulating the conversation on purpose, or is it simply because they have bought in so deep themselves? Because without the belief system, without the dream, they don't have a different path, right? If Ponce de Leon doesn't believe in finding the fountain of youth, if he doesn't believe in coming to America and changing the world and reshaping everything, does he ever get on that ship? Does he ever convince the sailors? And then at what point do you yourself, as an explorer, start to become a prophet to people under you, simply because of the fact that you're now so invested? Because like with me, like I can't have, I don't know about you guys, but I can't have the people that are working with me, the people that are working for me, the people that are involved and invested in our companies, I can't have them suddenly start to feel like have a negative opinion behind AI because of how invested I am into AI. So I have to get up every day, regardless of my internal thoughts behind things, and I have to push that aside, and I have to go, no, we're going to change the world. We're going to make these things different. I can't have a negative opinion. So what do you think that they're really driving it, or have they been sold? And now they have to now drive the people under them, simply because without that, they don't have a spot on the boat. Put your answer in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe. Leave a like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Tell me if I'm a barbarian or a scribe.
See you guys next time.
Peace.